Hi, and welcome to another video for Friday the 13th, the game. Today I will be talking about the 5 ways a counsellor can win at the game and successfully evade Jason's wrath. I will be explaining the methods from hardest to easiest and giving tips on how to achieve it. This by no means provides a guarantee for victory, but may give you a better insight on how to survive the murderous summer camp. Ultimately, this video is designed to give players a better understanding of how to beat Jason, survive the night, and escape from the camps about Crystal Lake. Right, let's get started. Arguably, the hardest way to win the game is by killing Jason. Some people would say differently, but ultimately, you will see this method of escape far less than any of the other methods I detail. It's not impossible, but keep this in mind. Only 5% of players will ever gain an achievement for defeating the formidable serial killer, and in over 500 matches that I have completed, I have only seen him beaten 5 times. I managed to deliver the fatal blow as Tommy once, but also died once as Jason. It did surprise me just how easy it was to achieve, but you only have one chance at it. If your attempt fails, you're dead meat. Defeating Jason requires the cooperation of a minimum of 2 players. One player must be a female character, the second must be Tommy Jarvis. Only Tommy Jarvis is capable of killing Jason, and only a female character can wear and use the sweater needed to stun him. Ideally, the more players you have helping you to beat Jason, the better your chances are of killing him. The first step is to knock off his mask. Hitting Jason repeatedly with a variety of weapons will eventually remove his hockey mask. Weapons such as the baseball bat and the pipe wrench are particularly effective, but any weapon will do. Next, Jason needs to be stunned by the female character wearing the sweater, triggering the sequence in which Jason will lower his weapon. Jason can resist the urge to submit, so the team will have to be quick once Jason is confused, believing the female counselor to be his mother. He must then immediately be knocked back and stunned where he will drop to his knees. The final step can only be done by Tommy Jarvis. Tommy will have to be quick and must be equipped with either the machete or the axe in order to kill Jason. On successfully ridding the camp of its murderous host, the game ends with the heading "You survived" for the remaining counselors and "You died" for the humiliated Jason. Only highly skilled players should attempt this method for victory, and should only do so when working with other adept counselors. It is also advisable that you attack a Jason who is a relatively new player to the game. Expert Jasons will single out the character wearing the sweater or attack Tommy, slashing as opposed to grabbing to prevent being stunned. If Tommy or the sweater-wearing girl dies, my advice, run. This is the only method that shouldn't be your planned means for survival at the start of the game. Trying to see out the extent of the 20 minutes should only be attempted when all other options for escape have been exhausted, or when you are the last remaining counselor and fitting the final component will alert Jason to your presence and send him directly to your location. Surviving the allocated time for the match should almost be achieved by accident, only realizing that it is an option on receiving the 2-minute warning before the game's end. Hiding for the entirety of the match is not only boring, but it is also improbable. Jason will find you, in spite of your epic perks, especially if he has time to spare after killing all of your friends. Half of the time you'll manage this feat simply by crouching behind a tree in a remote part of the camp, or hiding under a bed in a cabin full of beds and wardrobes while another counselor eats up Jason's time before falling victim to him in the dying seconds of the game. The other half of the time, you'll be being run ragged by the serial killer, hopping from one cabin window to another, praying for the time to expire. Surviving the extent of the 20 minutes is much harder than it sounds, and requires a lot of experience and a lot of luck. In some ways, escaping from the boat is easier than escaping by car. You only need 2 components to repair the boat, and you don't have to search any drawers for a key. Traps can be easily avoided if set in front of the dock, and often Jason can be caught unaware as to a counselor's attempt to escape. However, once in the boat, you are committed to your method of escape. There are no second chances. If Jason realizes that you're attempting to leave the camp via the lake and successfully stops the boat, you're as good as dead. Jason can swim much faster than a counselor and will most likely pull you under before you can get to shore. If you manage to somehow climb back in, you won't get it started before Jason can flip the boat for a second time. Another downside to the boat is that it can only carry 2 passengers. If you choose this plan of escape, you will be leaving most of your friends behind, assuming, of course, that there are any counselors left by the time you are ready to leave. The final reason this means of escape is harder than escaping by car is simply how often the boat spawns as an option on the map. The majority of the time, 2 cars will be allocated to the camp instead. Every game offers you the chance to leave by car, but only 1 in 3 games will it give you the option to use a boat. There are many upsides when attempting to leave the camp by car. It can be repaired very quickly when all of the counselors work together to get it up and running. Most players will attempt to make repairs or bring items such as the battery or the gas can to the car, or at the very least highlight the said item's location. The 4-seater blue car can get half of the counselors to safety in less time than it would take to wait for the police to arrive. And a good driver can also draw Jason away from other counselors, giving them the chance to make repairs on such things as the electrical boxes or the phone line. Another advantage to trying to escape by car is, should Jason manage to stop your vehicle, you still have the chance to escape. Your pocket knife will free you from his grasp, should he pull you out of it, whereas with the boat it won't save you. However, in spite of its advantages, attempting to escape in the car also comes with some pretty big drawbacks. The first notable feature of its shortcomings comes from its inherent difficulty for visibility. You're driving at night, the headlights aren't that effective, and visibility can be further reduced by the presence of rain. But most notable is the instant change from third-person perspective to a first. Another challenge for escaping in the car is trying to navigate through its narrow, winding roads. You can't use your map when driving, so you have to know the route beforehand, and should the car hit a fence, you will immediately come to a stop and have to restart it again in order to recommence with your journey. This will often give Jason the time to apprehend you. The car is also easy for Jason to set traps in front of. Whereas a bear trap in front of the phone fuse box may only require 1 pocket knife to disarm, it can take several knives or medi-sprays to counter the numerous traps Jason will set ahead of the grill and the driver's side door. Jason will also often morph to the location of a standing vehicle to catch counselors unaware, and it is also a good way for him to kill several players in one fell swoop, drawing his prey to him rather than chasing them all over camp. There is also the issue of driver dependency when being a passenger. If the driver isn't that experienced, he will often crash the car or off-road it to a location where there is nowhere to run once the car has been stopped. All in all, the car is a good method for escape, and should you have the keys and take up the role of driver, don't be a Chad. It's bad enough to leave your fellow counselors behind in the 2-seater, but to race past them with 3 empty seats, well, that's just being a dick. By far the easiest way to escape from the camp is by way of the police. It only requires one component to find, one repair to fit the fuse in place, and a phone call which takes as much time as it does to radio Tommy Jarvis. On completing the call, the authorities will arrive at one of the exits to the campsite 5 minutes later. It is the only method that offers an avenue of escape for all of the counsellors, and once set in motion, there is no way to revert the call, effectively shortening the game's duration. Players often work together, making the call within a few short seconds after completion of the repair, and counsellor perks can also play a factor by speeding up the response time to as quick as 3.5 minutes. Though Jason will know which entrance the police will arrive at, he doesn't receive a countdown, nor does he know of the location in advance. It is also much harder for Jason to stop his opposition from escaping on foot than it is by car or boat, and items such as firecrackers, flare guns, and other weapons can be used to aid a player's escape with ease. However, fitting the fuse is not as simple as it might sound. A good Jason will always place a trap in front of the fuse box. They will also be listening for signs of the counselor's repair attempt and will immediately morph to the fuse box to deal with them on getting wind of it. Even after repair, the phone line can be disabled so long as the counselor has not completed the call. Many a player have met with a quick demise on making such an attempt, and counsellors with a low repair stat are almost assured of being apprehended before being able to fit the fuse. A good Jason will defend this point at all costs, and will frequent its location when not contending with counsellors or other pressing tasks, just to keep tabs on it. Working in pairs can reduce the time of the call completion, and enable players to evacuate the area even before Jason arrives on the scene. Any counsellor can make the call, but it's best to leave the repair work to more able players. Remember, it is in their best interest to leave the camp too, and calling the police is, as I said before, by far the easiest method for escape. So there you have it. 5 ways to survive and escape from the camps about Crystal Lake. I hope you found this video to be both entertaining and informative. Check out my channel for more Friday the 13th, the game, content. Until the next time, take care and have a good day.